filling in for Leland. If you are interested in his travels, you are missing him. Do not worry. He will be back again Monday. And in the meantime, you can go to the Talk 99.5 Facebook and social media pages. And AJ has been so kind as to post a video of Leland's travels on there. So you can check that out there. We've had State Representative Ernie Yarbrough, and I even figured out how to say his name in here. Don't ask me how to spell it though. That's a whole different situation I will tackle when I write this story later for 1819 News. Really tremendously one of the good ones. As I mentioned yesterday, tomorrow I will have Speaker Ledbetter on tomorrow afternoon. It's always good. I love to talk to these lawmakers, talk about what they're doing, kind of see the direction that we're going as a state. I have even said this to him, so I don't mind saying it on air, or I've said it to his staff. You know, I think one of the challenges, if you guys pay attention to any of the party politics type stuff, one of the challenges that Ledbetter faced when people were really pushing on him to pass the closed primaries bill, one of the challenges is I feel like he just hasn't. People don't know who he is as much. You know, we really get to know our state, the state elected officials, whether it's your lieutenant governor, your secretary of state, all of those. I say governor. I don't know so much that we know Ivy, but that's neither here nor there. But we really get to know them when they're out campaigning. Well, the Speaker of the House is still just a member of the. I say just a. He is still a member of the House of Representatives, who is elected by his district. But he serves in a pretty big capacity, and so many people did not realize, you know, he can be credited with some of the conservative things that we have done as in the legislature, or the legislature has done and the legislature has passed. And so I appreciate the idea and the fact that he is going to make time for us to come talk tomorrow. Will not be as long an interview as I just had with Ernie, but still.
You say that every single time. Every single time you get some guests on, you're like, it's not going to be as long as the previous guest. And then you have them on for like an hour and a half. I'm like, why do you keep saying that to yourself, knowing that you're going to have them on for a long time?
What's funny is I schedule them for
30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And then we just get going. Usually they have somewhere else to be. He's cooking. He's literally cooking dinner for 100 people tonight. But he was like, "Nah, I'm good." And then I did the same thing with State Senate elect Ortiz and incoming State House Lloyd Peoples last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a recurring thing. I'm not going to have you on for 30 minutes, and then
I know.
And
then we just talk about all the things.
I guess I need to let you go, but I kidnapped you, so
I know.
Can you say over?
I did a really good job with the city councilors, letting them get back to Hoover yesterday, though. I will say they were in and out. All right. Well, I will take calls. I said that. 545-9950 if you guys want to get in on this last hour of conversation. Really talking about we were talking about all things state legislature related. I love the idea of what is yet to come here for Alabama. This election cycle was a brutal one. The primaries were awful. I mean, the runoffs especially, just awful. I have not seen a cycle where so many races went negative, but the attorney general's race got really negative there against Catherine. Then we had the lieutenant governor's race, and I don't even know what Wes Allen's campaign was doing. They were only attacking, not really setting him up for what he would do, but they were really going after John Wall. And then the state senate, woo, buddy, that one was a doozy. And so it's kind of nice coming off of that thinking. Okay, here we are, here we have it. We can now move forward and get ready, get ourselves in a position for what a Tommy Tuberville administration will look like, what it will look like. And again, I do not want us to take for granted that we are a deep red state and we can win by turnout alone. I think it's really important that we get out and vote. If for no other reason, just run those numbers up, guys. Don't give the Democrats a reason to believe that they can take ground anywhere. in Jefferson County, the turnout is routinely so low. And so if every Republican turned out, we'd have a fighting chance in some of these seats, right? In some of these races that we have. But we don't turn out. There is no, we still have pitiful turnout numbers for everybody. And so, because it's not necessarily who's registered, it's who turns out. So if instead of just being defeated in some of these areas, if Republicans would turn out, it would make a big difference. All right. I wanted to yesterday talk about some of the, and I didn't get into it, and so I'm going to do it after this next break. We talked about the Supreme Court decisions that have come in over the last week towards the end of this term. We had the birthright citizenship case that is kind of rocking what we are talking about in terms of immigration enforcement. And I'm seeing a lot of comments, people saying exactly what I said yesterday, which is we just got to be more diligent about not letting pregnant women in. We will put a stop to this industry, in especially those who are paying to come here from other nations to have children, those who are crossing the border just in the nick of time. Nope, enough. We'll just be more diligent about that. And people call us all sorts of names and say all sorts of things, and that is just what we're going to have to do. No two ways about it. There are things Trump can do administratively, and then of course Congress, which I was looking up during the commercial break there, at what looks like the House has already had a hot mess, and the Speaker sent everybody home. So not getting anywhere on that side of things. But we had that decision. We had the protection of girls' sports. But also on the way out, the Supreme Court agreed to take up several cases, several Second Amendment cases. So we'll talk about that on the opposite side of this as well. Really excited about the Independence Day events happening all throughout the Central Alabama region. Want to encourage you. I know a lot of us spend our Independence Day celebrating with family. But there are a lot of events going on, and not just around, not just the big ones, but a lot of cities. There's the Thunder on the Mountain. Everybody kind of watches that. I feel like a lot of people watch the Vulcan fireworks. They happen about 9 p.m. on Saturday. This evening, there's the event first on the 4th on the 1st. There you go. Let's see if I can not be dyslexic about that. Happening tonight in Hoover. They're going to watch the U.S. soccer game. So you're not going to want to miss that. And then have fireworks and then try to beat that world record, the Guinness World Record of aluminum cans opened. Watching as the Democrat Party somewhat implodes, the most radical leftist winning in primaries continuing last night in Colorado. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get into these headlines and more. Phone lines are open, 545-9950. Well, good evening, everyone. April Marie here. Uh, Earlier today, we started off the program with AJ and I sitting in an elevator that wasn't going anywhere. And it was because I was trying to get a text message I sent to him to have like the firework effect. And then I got into talking about how I just am thoroughly entertained when Google kind of plants these Easter eggs and you do a random search and you get an effect. So, sure enough, during that break, I typed in America 250 into Google and there's an effect. So, AJ's over there minding his own business, trying to get his work done. And I like push the button because I can talk to him from the other room. I push the button. I'm like, AJ, Google America 250.
But Google is known to have like cool stuff
They
like that.
loved it. And it's so fun. But I didn't know it would do that. So if you are wanting to entertain your children or the likes of April Marie, you can go Google America 250, and there is in fact a little firework and patriotic message. It's good to see the tech bros getting into that. You're gonna have to show your kids later, AJ.
Yeah, I'm gonna show them.
It's really cute.
Yeah. I'm gonna wake them up from their sleep. Hey, check this out.
Hey, check this out.
Look what I found on Google. They gonna be like,
what is Google?
Yeah, we have no idea what you're talking about. Do you want to play? Like, yeah, let's play. But you gotta look at this real quick.
Okay. This is your reminder, by the way, if you have a dog or a pet that routinely gets scared by fireworks. The time to prepare is not on the actual 4th of July. The time to prepare is now. So go ahead and get yourself ready. If there's any way for those pets to escape, if for whatever reason you don't have your dog's collar on them with where to find you, get those done today. This is my little PSA of the day. I feel like every 4th of July, every Independence Day, New Year's, there's going to be pets that get loose. So make sure yours is good. I mentioned it earlier. They're playing it on Fox News right now. 2 people arrested after scaling the Empire State Building. Not only did they scale it, these are two they've gone viral. They do this routinely. But the man proposed, if you're going to commit a felony and make it memorable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did.
Yep. But I mean, you say they're Russian, right?
Yeah.
But they know to like do stuff like that. I see a lot of stuff like in Europe.
I had
where
no
they climb things and parkour off of it or whatever.
That's just wild. A daredevil couple. Apparently, they've been featured in a Netflix special, and then post their videos. They stream and post their videos. They had to close down. Law enforcement, in trying to get to these people, ended up closing down the observation deck.
Yeah, because they probably think because they have their face covered, they like maybe this is terroristic. Because I mean,
yeah,
this is New York. Like,
no idea what. I mean, it was a little crazy.
Yeah, you see 2 people climbing up. When was the last time you saw someone climb up the Empire State Building?
Never.
Right.
Spidey.
Yeah.
Like that's not a thing that
and
happens.
And that's CGI, so you know.
Yeah. So that's another thing happened. They climbed it. They had a banner with a Jimi Hendrix quote on it. When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace. I don't know. How does one decide what they're going to write on their banner? I don't know if I could think of anything better. I don't know what I would. I guess for 250, you just get up there and you fly an American flag, maybe. But if you have your own banner ideas, feel free to call in or text in with them. But
first of all, okay, I just have a quick question.
You have your question.
How in the world do they allow them to climb up there?
They got all the way to the top.
To the top.
To the like tippy top.
Like because
it's an amazing image.
Yeah, you had to get to the observation deck. Then you had to find a way to get, because you're not just getting up on that tower just to climb. Like you had to find another way to get there. And you mean to tell me there was like no security, no nothing, and they were still able to get up there? I'm just baffled.
I'm looking at a picture of them, and I'm not gonna lie, that it's pretty cool looking. I'm glad it wasn't anything terror related, because that would have been unfortunate. but they are at the tippy top, right there where the red light is. And by the way, who had like that's making my heart race. I'm gonna need to take a beta blocker. Just looking at this image, it makes my how you end up with the ability to do this. I would pass the frick out. And I'm not necessarily scared of heights. I don't mind going. It's not my preference. But there is no way in the world you couldn't pay me to do that. Like if you're like April Marie, I'd offer you. We were having that conversation yesterday. The guy in Alabaster who won $1 million. I offer you $1 million. I'd be like, no, because I would die. I would fall out. You would have to be you'd be scraping my little body off the ground because I would faint. Looking as I look at more images and video of them up there, my pulse is racing. That's going to be a no-go.
Yeah, because you think about it, it's windy, and then they went to a platform on the tower, and then they were
that's where he proposed.
Yeah, and then they went a little bit higher to plant. Well, I won't say plant the flag, but to let the flag,
banner,
the banner, and then that's even higher from where he proposed at. Yeah.
No.
I'm like, is it raining? No, that's just I just relieved myself. So
yeah, that is the craziest thing. So they had a NYPD helicopter that was dispatched, and they have all these images about them out there. She's over there showing off her ring. Everybody thought the Taylor Swift wedding was going to be the talk of the town. These two catching the headlines, stealing Travis Kelce's thunder over there. It's again good. I know I should not be supporting deviant, illegal behavior, but of all the things that can happen, this isn't the worst. I'm not going to be sad about this. I'm kind of amused. All right. So we have that going on today. We had Trump. Oh, there's who got a ride in with men on horseback to his North Carolina event. Okay, there is a statement out of the White House about Freddie. Now, if you guys, if you haven't heard me talk about it, I have thoroughly enjoyed, along with so many people, the adventures of Freddie. And sure enough, he had to cancel a tourist from Germany who came here for the FIFA World Cups. He started in Alabama. He, was just literally just posting about his trip when he went viral. Now, the left got all mad because they started getting into his timeline. They, in fact, did dox him, although I will say it has not been in my timeline who he is, just that he had been to the United States before. At no point did he say he hadn't been in the United States. What he hadn't been is outside of the tourist traps of, I think he said he had gone to Vegas before. But he was invited to the White House. And me and the kids were talking about this as we would follow this on X, especially once he got invited to an Ella Langley concert, which is amazing. And then watching Gordon Ramsay put him up. I don't know if you saw that, AJ. He went from like a really cruddy kind of motel looking room to put up by Gordon Ramsay and having all the big gift baskets and food and all this stuff. Well, it turns out he was invited to the White House. There is a statement that has been released from Nick Adams, who is the special presidential envoy for American tourism, which I did not know existed, and I'm apparently going to have to follow his X account now. But he said, I arranged for a visit to the White House for Freddie, the viral World Cup tourist from Germany, to cap off what has been an epic FIFA World Cup visit to the United States. Despite the hateful and angry radical left's vicious attempts to dox Freddie, launch personal attacks, and intimidate him into submission, ultimately forcing him to delete his social media accounts to protect his peace and safety, the West Wing visit will still take place. That's what I'm talking about, Trump administration. That's what I'm talking about. Freddie's only crime, this is the statement continuing, Freddie's only crime, in air quotes, was loving America and documenting his travels in a completely nonpartisan way. This is what they do. They try to scare and silence anyone who doesn't conform. As the special presidential envoy for tourism, I am proud that Freddie enjoyed his trip here. I refuse to let the radical left turn something positive for our country into another victory for their politics of hate. In the true spirit of 2:50, I lifted Freddie up and made sure their mob tactics would not win. The visit will go on as planned. I like that. Happy ending. Sad that he was chased off the internet, but the leftists destroy good things. They absolutely do. They were mad. He said that you can be racist against a white person. That was the tweet they were sharing and angry about. These people are not even serious. Not serious people. All right, back in just a minute. You're listening to April Marie, filling in for Leland. Well, good afternoon, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. AJ trying to keep me out of trouble. Some days are harder than others. Today I haven't been so bad. I kidnapped a guest who I said I was going to be here keep for 30 minutes. I kidnapped him for almost an hour and a half. Besides, I guess it was about an hour, a little over an hour. It's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like he just got, cook for, hundreds of people.
He literally has to cook for 100 people and then play the bagpipe. I love it. I love it. All right. We were going over breaking news earlier. By the way, if you didn't see Clarence Thomas's concurring opinion in the boy who wants to play in girls sports, SCOTUS decision, that's worth reading. He says it's a short. Let me sum it up for you. He says it's a mental illness. By the way, it is. It is. If I were to sit here and tell you I was a magical unicorn, you'd all be like, she's cuckoo. You might actually think I'm cuckoo now anyways. That's neither here nor there. But this is this idea that we as a society need to affirm the crazy. No, we don't do that for other mental illness. We treat it. We don't tell a schizophrenic who thinks they've got a chip in them or they've been abducted by aliens. Yeah, that's right. We're all gonna cut away at our bodies and look for chips. We don't tell somebody who's bulimic or anorexic, yep, you're right, you're fat. No, this idea that we as a society need to affirm someone else's delusional thoughts, and by the way, the excuse they always give, well, it's for their feelings. You've got to be sensitive to their feelings. No. It never. I have yet. If you are listening and you're a leftist and you want to call and explain to me how and why a grown man's feelings matter more than the women around him, go ahead and please let me know. If you are one of those people who say, oh, well, I'm a woman and I don't care if there's men in my bathroom. Okay, but you can't give permission for men to violate other women. If you want to let him say, okay, my window's open, you can come watch me change anytime, that's on you. Okay, you go ahead. Put your sign out. Do you, boo. But if you want to say, no, I think it'll be better for their feelings. It'll make them feel better if men just got to go walk in, look at anybody's window that they want to. I'm going to go ahead and give you permission as a man to go ahead and look at every woman undressed that you want to. Because if not, your feelings might be hurt. And that's what the leftist, feminist nut jobs want us to believe and think. It's absolutely, on the surface, insane. Okay, even more insane than the idea that we have to affirm everybody is the idea that we need to push this on our kids and our teenagers, that we need to take vulnerable teenage girls and tell them, well, you might just be a boy. Oh, you don't like puberty? Well, who the heck likes puberty, man or woman? No teenager wants to go through all that. Bodies changing, sweating, voice changing for men, all the things. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to sterilize you, and we're going to tell you you're the opposite of what God made you. That's what we're going to do. Boggles the mind that we have to have this conversation. Boggles the mind. People are out there, oh my gosh, this is going to lead to so many problems. No, it's not. It's really uncomplicated, folks. It's easy peasy, 1, 2, 3. You were a man or you were a woman. End of story. A girl will play in girls' sports, a boy will play in boys' sports. Did we need a Supreme Court decision for that? We shouldn't have, but the left has lost their ever-loving mind. They've lost the plot. More and more, we need to remind them we are not playing along. We do not have to. All right, so lots of people out there celebrating that decision. Read the Clarence Thomas concurring opinion if you haven't. I think it's really good. Trump gave an interview to Breitbart News from the Oval Office last night, and he said, while he's disappointed that the Supreme Court did not uphold his ban on birthright citizenship, the case that made up for it was the Trump v. Slaughter case, which grants a president the power to fire independent agency employees at will. He said it is, and this is a quote, more than made up for it. So Trump, and if you weren't following those two cases, I didn't really talk about them a lot, but there were two decisions, and one of them was related to the FTC commissioner, and who sued and said that the president wasn't able to fire her. The ruling grants that the president does have the power to fire members of the FTC without reason. You know, it kind of made me think when I was reading this. I was thinking this was a conversation that was had when the legislature was looking at appointments in this past legislative session. There was a bill, I followed it start to finish. It was very important to me because we ended up with a bunch of leftist, bureaucrat-loving Democrats on the Alabama Charter School Commission. And those leftists are the ones responsible for the Magic City Acceptance Academy, not just getting their charter renewed, but renewed and extended beyond 3 years, but to 5 years. And I did story after story going, these are Republican appointees. They need to be following the will of the Republican lawmakers. A bill was introduced and passed this session. It was actually yesterday we had on Chris Pringle, Speaker Pro Tem. It was Speaker Pro Tem and Speaker Ledbetter. And what the bill said is if you are an appointee in the state of Alabama, the appointing authority, the people who put you in that position, have the ability to recall your appointment. And I think we're going to see come October. There are some exceptions to the law, by the way. If you're an elected official, if they're filling a vacancy of an elected official, they can't change that. If it's the ethics commission, they can't change that. And then the college boards and university boards, those cannot be recalled. But otherwise, they can be. I think this is going to be incredibly important when we see an administration change because Governor Kay Ivey has a track record of appointing Democrats, which has bothered me to no end. But we've also seen some, there are so many appointments that the Speaker is responsible for, the Speaker of the House, that the Senate Pro Tem is responsible for, the Lieutenant Governor. And so I really feel like we are going to get a wholesale change in the way that people are making their decisions, whether or not they're showing up for work for these boards and commissions, whether or not they're doing what is in line with the person who appointed them. We're going to see these changes. We're starting to see them already, and we're going to see more of them in October when they have the ability to call back their appointees. The Supreme Court just said Trump can call back the FTC commissioner. This is without cause, by the way, and this was a contentious thing. The couple of people who did mention in the Alabama legislature when this bill was going through, they were like, "Well, you can just call them back all willy nilly." Yeah, it's like Alabama's a right to work state. They have the ability to say, "I appointed you. Maybe you're not showing up. Maybe you let a bunch of waste, fraud, and abuse go through under your watch. Heck, maybe you let a school that is primarily fundamentally contrary to the values of our state, a school that promotes LGBTQ and transgenderism and DEI concepts and all the things. Maybe you let that go through, and we're gonna take that up with you a little later. So big things happening in the Supreme Court this week that do directly tie into things that also recently happened here in Alabama. So big decisions coming out. I mentioned I was going to get into the cases they're taking up. The Supreme Court did say they were going to look into gun bans. So I'll get more on that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do the final segment of Leland Live with April Marie. Well, good afternoon, everyone. April Marie here. AJ, one of the guys from the sports channel brought me a fan. It saved my life. It's I guess the air conditioning's gonna start kicking in tomorrow.
Well, supposedly it was supposed to be working, but I don't know. It was it's kind of cool over in here.
It's getting cooler over there.
Yeah. But you do have a whole bunch of lights on.
I have a whole bunch of lights on, and I probably gotta close the door. I'm really excited. It's like a new life in here.
Mm-hmm.
April Marie here, filling in for Leland. AJ keeping me out of trouble. I can't believe we only have one more day tomorrow.
I know.
It's gonna be so sad.
That's all right. You can be filling in with somebody like the week after next. I don't know.
You know, it's so funny because every now and again I'll get a text, and by every now and again I mean like every day that I filled in. How do we get more of you on air? And I'm like, well, we gotta convince the other people to take a break.
Right.
Although,
how do you like running the board?
Yeah, you know, I tried that one time, and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
I'm not coordinated enough.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, you got to be, even though you may not think, the producer's paying attention. We're paying attention,
Right.
But
you're also doing like 5 other things.
I am doing.
You're not just a normal producer.
No,
You're
not.
An extra superstar producer.
Yes, I'm doing a whole bunch of others. Not even just with talk, but with other stations and other things. Like I still got a whole bunch of reports I got to do, which I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm not even thinking about that right now.
Got my podcast up. Like he sends me a text. It had to have been 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I was like, dadgum. Yeah. And I did use one. Did you see? I got a story written. It was the headline story in 1819 News this morning. If you don't get our newsletter, I want to encourage you to sign up for it.
Yeah.
But our interview with Pringle was the headline there. I didn't even realize he had been in sports before he was elected to the legislature, because now he does construction work.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a wonderful dude. I would like to point out, I just got a really goofy picture of my son. Okay. Not only did I get a really goofy picture of my son, it was then made into a sticker that I was sent. I have no idea what's happening. It's a good thing there's only 9 minutes left of the show, because apparently the wheels have come off the bus for my family. I don't know what's happening over there. This week has been, well, first off, it's just we're in a weird time in terms of election season here in Alabama. I feel like everybody is all electioned out from the primaries and the primary runoffs, so nobody's even looking towards the general election yet. But all things considered, relatively SCOTUS aside, quietish news cycle. I'm looking up now. There are people on the National Mall over for Fox talking about the U.S.-Iran deal. I feel like we haven't had a lot of details about that. I will check in tomorrow and give you the latest there. Really, most of us just readying for Independence Day celebrations. Really, we do have so much to celebrate. Even as I watch the absolutely crazy Democrats get through their primaries, we still got a lot to celebrate across the country. I think one thing is we're waking up. While the leftist areas may be getting crazier by the day, a lot of people are waking up. That was one thing Representative Yarbrough talked about is I feel like there's no pulling one on us the way that they did during the COVID years. We ask a lot more questions these days. We're consuming our news from a number of sources, not the same sources. And even with the Iran deals, when the liberal media has gone off the rails with their version of events, there's been enough people out there to counter those and get the truth out there. So this week, relatively quiet news cycle, even as those talks continue, as we move forward there. AJ, you were saying, so you're not. I can't even talk to you about breaking bread. You're getting stood up by your fellow taste buds.
Just because they got other things to do, like
work and nonprofit
business
work.
owners and family. They just just leave me in the dust. But that's cool. That's cool.
That's cool.
It's just gonna be a pre-record, which is cool for me because I can go and do the other things
other 5
that I was gonna have to do after that anyway.
That's
so
fair.
it just kind of moves that up a little bit, so that kind of helps me out. So
all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about it tomorrow. but just less than a week after, as I'm talking, I don't even know how I failed to say it earlier. As I'm talking about SCOTUS decisions that have a lasting impact, was, of course, the decision related to the Hawaii law, striking down the law that barred gun owners with concealed carry licenses from bringing guns onto private property unless the private property owners had given explicit permission. The justices announced yesterday that they will weigh in on the constitutionality of the bans on AR-15s and other semi-automatic rifles. I love to watch the left go a little crazy when it comes to the Second Amendment, because they really do, and I'll give it to them. They got the mainstream media fooled in terms of when it comes to gun control. But I'm really enjoying the Supreme Court coming in time and time again defending Second Amendment rights. Last year, the Supreme Court turned down a request to weigh in on the Maryland law banning semi-automatic rifles like AR-15s. But it looks like just here we are now. Kavanaugh's kind of predicted this. He said that the judges have agreed to take up both an Illinois man's challenge and a challenge by gun owners and gun rights groups to a similar law in Connecticut. So if you start seeing a lot more pushback by those gun grabbers, that's what's going on in Virginia. Man, I was watching yesterday. The feds. So Virginia's thought they'd be cute, okay, as they are starting to implement more and more restrictions on Second Amendments. They thought they'd be cute. They'd slow roll paperwork. They'd do different things. Well, the federal government was like, nah, no, thank you. So they went through and got through all of the backlog, all of the applications that the federal government needed to do and weigh in on before the ban that went into effect. And of course, the DOJ is now weighing in on this. So we'll talk a little bit about some of these Second Amendment challenges, because Virginia, I love it. Virginia was one of those states where the woman who was running, while she was running, she was a little bit more moderate sounding or seeming. Now, if you were paying attention, you could call her bluff. But she was saying, no, I'm a little bit more moderate. She kind of walked back her comments on boys and girls sports. She wouldn't come out and just say it. She was kind of hemming and hawing, Doug Jones style. And then she gets into office, and she is awful. She is awful. I'm watching her over there, and I've got family who live in Virginia, and I'm watching this, and I'm going, you guys, you let the deep blue areas of your state carry this woman in an election, and this is what you got. This is why it's so important not to take those elections for granted. Here in Alabama, we are a deep red state, not just red, but super majority red. But there are things that take time that shouldn't take as much time for us to do and get done. And one thing that could really throw a monkey wrench into things is if we get complacent, if we get, and I really feel like we have. You look at this turnout, these low turnouts in these latest elections, and it gives me pause. It makes me worry. It should be a big red flag for all of us. All right, April Marie here. Let's see, as we continue to keep an eye out as we wrap up today's program. If you missed it, two daredevils reached the tippity top of the Empire State Building with a banner before one of the men proposed to his, one of the two, which was a man, proposed to his longtime girlfriend. If you haven't seen the images of that, they're kind of amazing, not going to lie. We are back again tomorrow. We'll have Speaker Ledbetter calling into the program, so you're not going to want to miss that. AJ, you got an hour extra reprieve here.
Yeah, it's almost like daylight savings time.
There you go.
Get off an hour earlier. Well, for the most part.
All right. Well, you guys won't want to miss the next episode, even though of Breaking Bread, which is a best of AJ's favorite parts, right? Sure.
You know what? It's because the software we have. It's kind of hard for me to listen to it. So I don't even know what I picked, but hey, it's going to be good. So luckily it's only an hour.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
You guys are a hoot.
Yeah. We try. So it might be something that's funny or something that people just be like, not too much sure about that. So, but whatever it is, as long as we ain't got dead air, I'm okay.
That's all you need, right? All right, guys. Well, we'll be back again tomorrow. Until then, stay out of trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forget you got to say the stay out of trouble signage.
I love to tell them to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will say stay tuned for Breaking Bread. But yeah, stay tuned for Breaking Bread. You know, you never know what show's gonna be coming on. What I picked for that show. But Breaking Bread coming up next. Thank you, April Marie. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Goodbye, AJ.